Hello everybody, welcome to another video on career solutions by Aashna Jain. Today we have a friend and somebody who's very popular on LinkedIn, Samridhi Jain. She's a third year law student and she's a content writer. I mean, she started off her journey as a content writer, especially generally, and now she's niched down towards the field of legal tech and content around that. She's worked with law firms, legal tech companies, legal professionals, and she's worked not only with Indians but from people outside of India as much as 7 to 8 countries. She's doing phenomenal work and she's always there on LinkedIn. You can just go connect with her. It's been a pleasure speaking with her almost all the times, even before this interview. So, with that said, I think let's quickly deep dive into today's interview, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so
Right.
much for having me
Right.
today.
All right. So let's start with the first question. And as everybody would have seen that, the journey in today's interview is about freelancing. So our entire question base is only towards legal freelancing and just generally also freelancing for law students. So first question is that what according to you is freelancing, and are there any specific things covered under the ambit of legal?
Right. So freelancing is just every type of freelancing, right? It's basically working at your own pace. Mostly from home. You can also travel. You can work out of cafes. You can do whatever you want. But freelancing is mainly you working with different clients, different types of clients, probably in one particular niche. So I chose to work in the legal niche because I'm a law student, and I found that it was very helpful in terms of networking as well as getting a head start to your career. So freelancing is just working with different types of clients, and specifically legal freelancing. There are a lot of things that you can do within legal freelancing. It could involve writing, it could involve designing, it could involve marketing, and different things like that. So there's no one particular definition given to it, but it's just that you work with a different set of clients in a particular industry.
Right. All right. Perfect. So I think that's great. So how did you step into this field per se, considering there's no formal guidance available around the subject matter as such? So how did you get
So, I mean, I'd like to start off by saying that I never intended to become a lawyer. I'm a first generation lawyer in my own family. I had no idea that I would take up law. And I've always wanted to start my own business, but I ended up taking a law degree. And I think that's one of the best decisions that's ever happened to me. And honestly, my journey in freelancing started off from LinkedIn. So, someone told me that it's important that you learn how to write really well because you're a part of the legal profession. And I said, okay, well, I'm bored. And 2020 was when college started for me, law school basically. And I had absolutely nothing to do. I was just getting used to the legal world, and I absolutely knew nobody. So then I started writing of articles just here and there, and then I started posting them on LinkedIn. And from that's where when things changed. Slowly people started approaching me, asking that if you could write articles for us, and they were happy to pay me for it. And I said, okay, why not? It's a good way to get started. And I started doing that. So I was first working in the legal academic space, where I was helping people write articles, helping academicians as well do a bit of research paper work. But then later I realized that I wanted to be a part of work where I was simplifying complex matters, like simplifying complex content into simple content so that it's understandable, right? Because anyways, there's so much legal jargon. Then I moved to working with law firms and legal marketing agencies. So I started doing legal marketing work because law firms in India and around the world need clients, right? They also need business. Unlike the notion about law firms are not a business or the legal profession is not a business, law firms need clients too. So they have marketing and business development teams. So I've worked with business development teams. Then I've also worked with agencies who were outsourced to do this law firm BD work. Then I realized that the legal marketing space in India is a bit restrictive because of bar council rules in terms of not advertising yourself. So then I realized that I wanted to unleash my creativity and be able to implement projects that actually made a difference. Right, I was able to do it while I was working with law firms, but I wanted to put in more creativity. So I realized, and then legal tech started booming. So I thought it was a good opportunity. And I didn't realize it until people reached out to me. So because I started posting content on LinkedIn continuously, people reached out to me and said that, would you mind writing for us in the legal tech space? And I didn't tell them that I didn't have the experience. I mean, they could see that I didn't have it, but then they still trusted me to, do the work. So then I went and did the work. And so I've always said that, I've always learned how to do something while on the job. So yeah, I think that's been my journey and how I started from LinkedIn, how I went from, doing legal academic work to completely diving into legal tech.
Right. So I think what I get here is that that you were good at writing and that's how you monetized it, right? So I think moving ahead and like I think a follow-up to this question would be that what all skills can law students monetize? And in pursuance of that, how can they get started with it? And and further onto that, that does social media presence affect all of this in any manner?
Right. So, how can law students get started, and what are the skills, right? So, I think skills would definitely be. I think these are skills that we as lawyers should always have, anyways have, right? And then we can build. We can use those. We can use that stack to build off a freelancing business, right? So, for example, you're good at writing, or even if you're not good at writing, because I was horrible at writing. And if I can become a writer, then anybody can become anything, right? The different types of skills I can run you through it. It can be writing, it can be graphic designing. So even if you're a law student, you should not restrict yourself to just legal skills or just skills that would apply in the legal profession, right? But if you know how to design things really well, or if you have an interest in graphic design, then you should pursue that. There are so many people now as freelancers who talk about graphic designing as a career, as freelancing, right? So that can be graphic designing. Then if you know how to draft contracts, if you know how to, so you can start a complete freelancing business. I know law students who've done contract drafting work and have excelled at it. They've done business trips to Dubai and things like that. Um, then other skills include, legal research. So what you could do is you could assist professors or assist if you have a knack for researching things, digging deep into things, then you can go into legal research. Then there are so many other things that you could do. So you don't have to, like I said, you don't have to restrict yourself to the legal profession. You can do things apart from it as well. Even when it comes to writing, doesn't necessarily mean that you should write for law firms or the legal profession or the industry. You can work with SaaS companies, you can work with marketing companies, e-commerce companies. All of them require writers, and it's a great industry to be a part of. So you should not, I would suggest that never restrict yourself to the legal profession just because you're a law student. But I understand that a lot of people would want to develop skills in that area. So I think one and how you can like get started on it is and how you can get started plus social media is it's the same thing. Like I would like to say that social media is what took my journey forward. LinkedIn was where I started off. I did a Twitter for a little bit, and I've got clients from, my first client was from Instagram. You will not believe it. And it was not in the legal space. So I started writing for a podcast based in the US. And I had no idea so that introduced me to the world of freelancing. And once that happened, I ventured into, the legal bit. So how you can start is I always encourage students to post about their content, post different types of content on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is a place where a lot of legal professionals are present, and it's the best place to market yourself. So law students should definitely build a personal brand. You can never force a personal brand, right? You have to always be authentic. So whether you want to talk about internships, whether you want to talk about a move that you did, don't be extremely professional. I see a lot of posts that say I'm delighted to announce, or I'm like, these are just superficial words that you just pump into posts. That's not really useful. Just be authentic about your experience. Just talk about the 6 months before, like a really important mood, like what are the emotions that you went through and things like that. So I think authentic content always wins. So I think starting off with content like that, and specifically if you're looking to attract clients, then you should create content that is very client specific. In terms of if you want to attract law firms, then you should post about why marketing is important for law firms, right? So yeah, so that's the bit about integrating social media as a way of starting off.
Right. So I think social media is not always the devil. I mean, it can also work in your favor if we wanted to. Right, great. So I think right now, because we're in the aspect of social media and like, the ever-changing world of freelancing as well, how do you constantly upskill yourself or like, how do you stay updated in this field?
Right. So initially I never thought of, initially I thought that, okay, I know how to write, I'm getting clients, everything's going just fine. Why do I need to like do anything? I never even gave that a thought. But then I realized that there's so much, not just because of competition, but because of the fact that your writing your writing rots as you keep growing, right? So it's very important to learn how to write. So I don't call myself a writer, I call myself a marketer. And more than that, and more than being a writer, I'm someone who's a business partner with the clients that I'm working with. So my goal is to always ensure that my writing brings money to my clients. And that is a really hard thing to do, right? Because your writing, to be able to convert that to revenue for a client is something. So you don't have to just think in terms of in terms of the words that you're writing. You have to think about, will people look at this and will they be encouraged to look at the product that we're trying to sell? Will they be encouraged to take it to a further step and sign up for a demo or sign up for a workshop or a webinar? Will they be encouraged to take the next step in the sales process? So while I was writing, I also learned so much about how sales happen, what customer success is, how marketing plays out. Why is it important to understand which stage of the company, like the stage of the company that you're working with, what is the kind of business model that they run? So, more than being a writer, you're supposed to be a business person and understand how to sell to people, right? And the most important thing, the one of the skills that I've always um, spoken about a lot on LinkedIn as well as in general is psychology, about how it's very important to understand your target audience psychology, right? If so for example, a lot of legal tech companies sell to lawyers, right? They're just one of their audiences. So you need to know what makes lawyers frustrated, what gets them annoyed, right? What's something that will make them happy. So according to that, you would have to frame your messaging, because if you tell them something that they don't want to hear, uh, or something that they shouldn't hear, or if you blame them in your content, right? So I see a lot of companies blaming their own audience. That doesn't do anything. That will never get you sales, right? So things like that. So that's the bit about how it's important for law students to remember, or anybody in general to remember, that it's not just writing. It's a whole package that you have to take care of. And when it comes to upskilling, what I've constantly done is I follow a lot of people on LinkedIn who are into different spaces. Someone is a business person, someone is into marketing, someone is into sales, someone, like, there are so many lawyers, so many legal marketing professionals. So when you and these are the best people in the industry. When you follow them, when you read their posts, it's always encouraging, and you get to learn so much. So I have learned through the work that I've done. I've learned through people on LinkedIn, and these people on LinkedIn themselves sometimes release courses, right? So then you can just go ahead. You've read their content, you've seen their work, you believe in their you believe in their authority. So you can then go ahead and buy their courses. And there's of course there's YouTube. So I've mostly done free stuff. I don't really encourage. I mean, I only encourage buying paid courses when you're very sure about the person that you're buying it from, about their authority, about their presence, and about the knowledge that they have. So yeah, I would say that's how I have upskilled myself.
Right. So I think up till now we've discussed like, say what is freelancing, which all skills can be monetized, or like, how social media helps us, in numerous ways in getting us out there and like, people knowing about us, or like, the importance of upskilling. Now, I think the most crucial question remains to be answered here is that how do we get the clients? Like we've known everything about the structure. Now, where are we getting the clients from? So I think if you can throw some light on that, that would be great. And yes, in person. So that I think even when I was a law student and I used to look for freelance work, I used to always go back to websites like Upwork and Fiverr. Again, I'm not sure how relevant they are today, or like how much people should go ahead and work on them, or like use them to get clients. So if you can give like a gist of this answer, like how to get clients and also do these websites help us.
Yeah. So I'll tackle Upwork and Fiverr first. So honestly, I've been on Upwork, I've been on Fiverr. Fiverr, I've been completely unsuccessful. Fiverr has not worked for me. A lot of people, Fiverr has worked, and I would encourage you to try it. And Upwork has worked for me. I've got a bunch of clients there. But then what I've done is I've moved all my clients from Upwork, and I've told them, follow me on LinkedIn. Come on my LinkedIn. Let's do business from there, because I don't want to be involved in Upwork where they have a 20% fee, or even higher sometimes. Like, it just depends. I'm not even sure what the fee structure is right now. So the amount of cut that they take away from you is not worth the effort that you put in, because already remember that the pricing that you're agreeing to is already very, very competitive, and it's very like, the amount that you bid on is extremely small, right? So for example, there's a $30 project, someone is agreeing to do that in $20, right? And you don't even know this person. And the thing is, the worst part about being on these platforms is that you don't get to build your own identity, right? But when you compare that to LinkedIn, or when you compare that to any social media platform where you're able to build your personal brand, that's where people know who you are. They know the person that you are. They know you from your content. You get to speak with people. You get to get on meetings, right? But Upwork, in terms of that, is extremely restrictive. Or for that matter, any other platform. So I think I would definitely, if someone is starting off right now, I would suggest them to start off from LinkedIn or platforms like Twitter. And more so, start from the platform where your audience exists, right? They don't necessarily have to be on LinkedIn. For example, your audience is law students. A lot of them are on Instagram, right? All day. They're watching reels. So you have to reach them, you have to reach your audience in the way that they are consuming social media, right? And for example, if you're trying to reach law students abroad, then you should probably get on TikTok, right? Or it just depends, right? So that is the bit about Upwork. And how do you get clients is the biggest question of all. So I was lucky enough for clients, when clients reached out to me directly through my content. So that is one of the ways that clients can reach out to you, where you post quality content in terms of educating them about. So for example, I do marketing work for legal technology companies. So I will tell them that, what's the importance of marketing? Why should you have a website that people understand? How can you build a website that people understand? What is the importance of articles? How do you write really well articles that convert to revenue, right? So educating them, leading them to, messaging me, or getting to me so that we can do business together, right? So that is one way of getting clients. The other way is to cold message them. That is to send cold emails, right? I'm not a cold email expert. I've barely written a few cold emails because one, I dread the process. Secondly, I feel like in the legal profession, I feel like a lot of personalized effort works. So I've seen that instead of cold emailing, I just message people on LinkedIn to get on a quick call. It is absolutely no agenda call, just getting to know each other. People are happy to do it because they want to build their network. They want to connect with people from all around the world. And from that meeting, I'm telling you, one of the ways that I've got most of my clients is getting on these meetings, and they will never be like, they have barely been my clients, but they have referred me to 10 other people, and with just one call, right? So and that's the call where you make your own impression, right? It's not where you boast about yourself, but it's where you just be yourself, talk about what you do, and just have a very normal interaction, right? Like, what do you do? How's the weather in your country? Or what's happening, right? Just general stuff like that. Ask them questions about their career, because everyone loves to be asked about, what they are doing. Everyone loves talking about themselves. So and in this process, what I've also done is I've networked with legal professionals around the world I never thought I would have access to, right? And the second thing is that once you do that, there are people all around the world cheerleading you, and they want you to succeed, right? And it's the best part. So this is one way of getting clients. There's another way, which is, of course, when you work with clients, you ask them for recommendations and testimonials, and then they will refer you to other clients in the process, right? And when you work with agencies, or when you work with when you work with agencies, you get access to a lot of known names in the industry. So then you go ahead, connect with them on LinkedIn. You can comment on their posts. You can encourage. You can build a relationship through comments, message them, get on calls, and then you can take it from there. So never make the client, bringing the client to your business a very salesy approach. Never take a salesy approach, but always go in the authentic way. It's going to take some time. It will definitely take some time, but you will have the best quality clients to work with, and your business will flourish. So yeah, those are the different ways that you can get clients.
Right, right. I think that was a very, very exhaustive answer, something for me also to learn from. Right. So I think moving on to the last segment of this, first in that question is that, should law students consider doing this, or should somebody who's graduated only then, they should step into this? And considering, say, you say that, yes, law students should also do this, like how can they manage their studies, internships, other activities in law school along with freelancing? Considering, you are a law student and you're doing a phenomenal job at it. So I think, yeah, I mean, you're the best person to answer this.
Thank you so much. I'm just so glad that I get to have this conversation with you. But I think that's one of my favorite questions. A lot of people ask me how I manage, everything that I'm doing, and I tell them that if something is important to you, then you will get it done, right? But I know that's not a very helpful answer. So let me get to like the main part of it. So first, should law students even consider doing this? Well, it's your choice, right? Do you want to build connections? Do you want to have a network? Do you want to get invited to some of the best events happening in the country or even abroad? Do you want to have your own name in an industry which is completely filled with a lot of people? Do you want to do something which is different from the crowd, right? It does not matter what you want to do at a later point after you graduate, right? I want to work as a commercial lawyer. I want to work in the corporate space, but I still continue to do this because I feel like this gives me an edge. And more than me caring about it giving me an edge is me enjoying the work that I'm doing right now, right? So find what you enjoy, and you will only find that when you experiment, right? A lot of law students get stuck into, either going to get into litigation, I'm going to go into a law firm, I'm going to go in-house, or but like I'm going to get into the judiciary or do UPSC, right? There's nothing bad with any of that because I want to be a corporate lawyer myself, right? But that does not mean that you restrict yourself to just this. The amount of shift that has taken place in the legal space right now is massive. People are doing such things that you've never heard of. There are legal operations, there's legal marketing, there's legal technology, there's process improvement, there's workflow automation. Now with AI and all of the buzz around Chat GPT, there are so many more jobs that are opening up. You can work as a paralegal, then move into working as a legal operations person as well. So whether you should do freelancing is completely upon you, but it's a way of standing out. It's a way of meeting people that you never thought you'd meet. And the thing is, as if you do freelancing, it just opens up the space for more luck to enter your life, because that's what's happened to me. One thing led to the next, and that thing led to the next. The number of opportunities that you get by putting yourself out there is just incredible. So I would say, I would definitely encourage everybody to freelance, whether it be in, absolutely anything, whether you want to write, you want to do legal research, or you want to draft contracts, or you want to start logo designing, that's absolutely okay. Right. And how I manage all of this is the biggest question of all, because I have no answer. I have no concrete answer to it. But what I can say is, what I do, my business is extremely important to me. It's a very big part of who I am, and this has given me everything that I have today in terms of my own independence. So I really value everything that I've had through the process, right? So in terms of managing, so when I have law school, I figure out a way to divide my work and see if I can finish it way before the deadline, right? Because even when you're supposed to submit the work on a deadline, what sometimes may happen is you might fall sick, your friends might call you out to go somewhere, or you might have something that might just end up ruining the whole deadline situation. So I always make sure that I do all the client work in advance. And that always doesn't happen. Of course, we don't live in an ideal world, but the only way to manage is to figure out your priorities, right? That does not mean that you cut out on social media, like scrolling through social media or going out with people, right? So I think it's all a matter of figuring out what matters to you and then allotting time to it. And in the process, you will absolutely end up, doing things that you didn't wish to do. And sometimes you will have to sacrifice things you had no idea you would have to sacrifice. So I would just suggest that, for anyone who wants to start, all the best. You can always message me on LinkedIn. I'll definitely be happy to help. And you can follow me on Instagram. I share a lot of my stories and all the behind the scenes. And thank you so much for the questions.
Right, right. It was a pleasure speaking with you. It has always been. I've always enjoyed speaking with you, and it has always rejuvenated me in some way. I don't know why. Like we've had one live session also in the past. I remember, like we've had certain phone calls. It's always been like a nice thing to speak with you. So I think again, it was really phenomenal today. So thank you so much for answering it so patiently. And with that said, I think we can just end the today's interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you.